to Miss Whoopi Goldberg. Like the mother of your daughter, did you ever feel like the motherly type, you know?
Well,
Because you had her when you were 15, right?
No. She had her baby when she was
Oh, okay.
15, yeah.
How old were you when you had
19.
her? 19?
Yeah, and marriage.
Yeah.
And I, you know, in those days, that's what you were supposed to do. You're supposed to get married.
Yeah.
I never liked it.
Never liked being married?
No.
You've been married 3 times, right?
Maybe 4 or 5.
Never liked it.
I never liked it because I knew it wasn't something I agreed with.
Mm-hmm.
You know, because I didn't feel I knew enough about me to include someone else to know any more about me.
Yeah.
And then have them think they knew more about me than I knew about me. So I was never good at it. And I never liked answering questions. You have to be friends, I think.
Yeah.
You have to be friends first.
Yeah.
Because, you know, sex is great and wonderful, but it does kind of morph after a while. And so there has to be more than that.
Yeah.
And I don't want any more than that. And I think it's because I have a kid. I think it's because I have a kid. Because whoever comes into my life is never going to be number one.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
The kid is number one, always. And I could never explain that to anyone.
Mm-hmm.
You know, why do you always take the call? Because that's my priority. That's the person I need to pay attention to, first and foremost. And you might be second or third. You know, I got grandkids and great-grandkids, so you probably gonna be ninth now.
So Whoopi, you've done, you know what's interesting, your work ethic. You have done so much. I mean, Broadway and television and movies and you know, being a host on The View and television commercials and just everything, producer. Have you directed anything?
You know, I keep saying I want to, but I realize that I actually don't. It's not in me to direct.
Really?
I think because you just kind of knew that, well, I believe that you move on from this body and you get to another place.
Mm-hmm.
So always hope for the best for everybody. But you know, in the old days, we used to do things because you harvested. Things were harvested for eyes and different stuff.
Oh, right, the body parts,
right.
yeah.
And so, but you know, you'd be in one of these sort of wooden things and you'd have a thing that would hold someone's head in place so that you could do the makeup. So sometimes they would have Joan Crawford lips when you got done with them, and then you had to like do it the right way.
Yes, and because you could wipe it off and start again.
Yeah.
And so did you do that here in New York?
No, it's California.
In California?
Yeah.
Because you're from New York.
I'm from 26th Street and 10th Avenue.
26th Street. Oh, that's Is that where those houses?
The
those
big brown Elliott Chelsea house.
Yes.
That's
yeah.
right.
You grew up there.
Mm-hmm.
And how is it that your mother came to be in New York City? Is she from New York City?
Yeah, she was raised up on 136th Street or something with her.
Really?
Mom. Yeah, and one of the family folks had some candy store up there. Yeah, we're New Yorkers, and I think they started in Jacksonville, Florida.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Woo! And so I know that you lived in San Diego. What brought you out there? That's where we're from, San Diego. What brought you out there?
A guy.
A guy.
Yeah.
Yeah. Did you marry this guy?
No.
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 Yeah. Well, I mean, with all the marriages and the guys, you would think there was a part of you that really enjoyed that aspect of yourself. Where does that aspect of yourself live now? Where is that thing?
Well, the thing doesn't exist anymore because once I realized that it was okay not to be married, I was fine. But it took me almost 30 years. Because people kept saying, well, you know, you should be married. And you should be married. And I was like, okay. Sure. No, I love you too. That man who's the determined to build the wall, he'd have some money to build the wall.
That's true.
He'd have some money. He would actually be able to go in his own damn pocket. But he won't. We know that, but that's not the point.
Yeah.
You know, he's very mad at China for doing what he did to us when he bragged about not paying any taxes. I don't get that part, but see, people are shaking their heads, but are you pissed about it? Then you got to make sure you get out and do something about it. When I say, wait, let me clear that up because I don't want anybody misunderstanding what I mean. Okay? Vote is what I'm talking And put the Democrats and the Republicans and ask them, whose pocket are you in that you don't think it's important for us to receive this money that we are making happen? You created the business, we've made you $1 billion company. When Native American tribes open casinos, that tribe benefits from the money that the casino brings in because they help each other. Yeah. They also help the state you're in. But so why are we not doing that? And why aren't both sides saying, wait a minute, we have a really great idea of how to make stuff better. You want to forget Obamacare? You want to forget all that stuff? Put that $1,000 in the American's pocket every month. Put it in, because you're not going to miss it. Right. 4 companies paying $1 billion, $1,000 a month is not going to hurt them. Make them explain why none of them are pursuing that. And Andrew Yang's, he's a math guy. Yeah. I'm not. But the idea that those guys are not paying any taxes pissed me off so badly that I thought, well, what the? And then I started talking to different factions, Democrats and Republicans and not intermediaries, independents. And none of them were securing that idea that the government should force by law these companies to pay, and that the company, we should be benefiting. None of them want to talk about it. I don't know why.
No, I think it's a great idea. Yeah. All right, so now we are going to take some questions now. Theron has got the mic in the center there. If you want to talk, you have to go up to the center. We only have...
Because they're an international student and they're afraid to come back, and they're afraid if they're not going to be able to finish their education because of the government. Some people are experiencing it because we're Black people, are people of color in general, navigating white spaces. So what do you give? What advice do you have to give to talk to those things? Because you guys really are just glowing, shining lights, and you bring such a passion and warmth and just love to this. So I want to hear what you have to say.
You're very kind. You're very kind. So the question really is, how do we put people at ease who feel threatened by the current landscape? Yeah, you want to?
Well, you have a lot of artists on your campus.
Oh yes, we do. We actually have we have a whole art school. It's UMass Amherst College.
Okay.
I'm from the College of Information and Computer Science at UMass Amherst.
Cool.
And I'm the director of diversity for our college.
Okay, so let me suggest.
You're all welcome to come to my college because it's an amazing place. We're computing for the common good.
Here's what I would ask you is to sit with the art students and create some banners. Create a banner of what happened to. Oh my God.
This is a person from a college.
Well, it can be Matthew Shepard.
Yeah, right.
Or she was a blues singer, and she ended up bleeding to death. No. Betty's, thank you. Sometimes my brain goes too fast and I have to slow it down and back up. To create these visuals with the stories. Because people should know that this has been around a long time, and the only way it changes if you say, you know what? I know you're unhappy that I'm here, but thank God you live in this country. Thank God you live in America where I can come here to do what I need to do so I can make my people better. These are the things that, stop people when they're in your face. It's like, you know what? You are absolutely right. I know you are uncomfortable. I can see. I don't know why I would make you uncomfortable, because I'm not thinking about you. So, posters, and put them everywhere so people can see it, so that when you're going down the street or you're coming up the stairs, it's like those stories are there, because people have forgotten about what happened in Germany in World War II. Yeah. Because, all of our, I'm saying our, you're younger than me, but my grandfather was in World War I. My father was in World War II. They liberated places. I knew these stories. They taught us about World War II. All those folks are dying out. You don't have the stories that say, here's why you need to find a way to find our best togetherness as opposed to our separateness. Yeah. These are things you've got to do it, and it's a bitch to have to do. But this is what happens when people stop talking. When you stop talking about the past and what happened, it repeats itself. That's right. So I would love it if you could get your students together with artists, together with all these stories, and put them up everywhere. And see if you can get the school to recognize they got a problem, and put that everywhere too. We got a problem. You don't know me and you hate me and I don't know why. Put that up on a thing. Make that part of the curriculum. Force people to deal with it. Because, most people only, what is the word when they parrot? They parrot things that they've heard or they think. Or they heard it on television, or today, stupid stuff is happening. Because people are saying, well, this is what I believe. It's like, no, and there's no fight. No one's fighting it. Yeah. So start putting signs up.
It's a great suggestion.
It is a great suggestion.
Great suggestion, because we need to talk about this, and we do have campus conversations, and they're doing an amazing job, and they're very dedicated to helping to create an environment that's welcoming. But it's once we leave our campus, we have to also be able to make those changes, and I will do that in my institution.
You should do that. In the George Orwell book, Animal Farm, really what the book is about is that people forget. And we have to remind everyone the stories that it's really just one of us here. And it's important to, I think people my generation had kids wanted to right the wrongs of their childhood through their kids. So they wanted to protect them from some of the ugliness that could, I feel like we're in this period where it's this sort of thought virus, where these thoughts have run rampant, and it continues. And the worst one of all is that this idea that we're separate from one another. We are not separate from one another. And I think Whoopi's got a great suggestion. Thank you, Eric and Lynn.
Thank you.
Looks like we have one more behind you there.
Failure of something I tried to do and couldn't, or failure of being smart enough to know?
That taught you the most about life, about you, about your friends, about everything. Life.
Okay, yeah, no, I understand. So, I'll tell you a kind of a fast story. So when I was a kid, I had a great friend, best friend in the world named Rosie. And Rosie was always put together, fabulous woman, great kid, great friend, wonderful. I was always a hippie, so I always had puffs and, and I had my overalls. I looked pretty much like I look now. But it was less hip then. And we were going to see Romeo and Juliet, done by
Franco
Zeffirelli. And she came down and she went, "Is that what you're wearing?" And I was like, "Yeah." She's like, I'm not going out with you dressed like that. And I was like, well, I don't understand. I'm clean, I don't get it. She said, no, we're going to we should not, you can't go to the movies looking like that with me. I'm just not gonna do it. So we went around and around, and then, so she left. She went to the movies. And I said to my mother, did I do something bad? My mother said, do you think that you did? And I said, well, no. She said, well, then what's the problem? I said, well, why would she say that she wouldn't hang out? She said, listen, are you comfortable with how you look? And I was like, yes. And she said, then there's no question that you were fine. And as long as you always know that you're in your correct place where you should be, it should be fine. So the failure was not calling Rosie the next day. But I waited a little while, and I said, you know, we're best friends, and you still have to hang out with me, regardless of what I look like, because I'm clean. I'm not dirty, I'm not nasty, whatever. And she said, oh, all right. You know, and we're still friends. She lives in Miami with her wife and 4 kids. And she and I, you know, she always says, I hate when you tell that story. I say, we were like 11, okay? It's okay. But that was my failure, because I knew that it was okay for me to feel the way that I did, and I didn't say right away, listen, I have every right to say no.
Right.
I'm not gonna change. What about you?
So I will tell, but so how long did it take for you to call Rosie back?
Couple of days.
Couple of days.
Yeah.
All right. You know, when I was 28, I was sleeping on my sister Rosie's couch. She's right there. Hi, Rosie.
Hey, Rosie.
She's younger than I am. I had moved out to LA from New York. I had moved out to LA from New York, and I was a big flop. And I had nothing. I didn't even get arrested. Well, actually, I did get arrested. But I couldn't get a job. I couldn't get anything. I ended up, by Christmas time, I was back at my mother's house in San Diego. I gained about 25 pounds, and I was just, it was my Saturn returns. I was 28, so it was just a dark period. But that was a huge failure for me. But what got me out of it was a great lesson. My friend who he called me, and he called me and said, what are you doing? Wake up, Dorothy. Get out of that poppy field. Wake up and get your ass back to New York. I'm gonna buy you a ticket to get back here. In a week, you'll get enough go-go dancing gigs to pay me back, and took us back to New York, and remember what you started out to do. Don't just wallow there. And it was a great lesson, because, and I did just that. I got on that plane and I came back here, and I worked harder than ever before. But I needed someone to remind me of who I am, the Shield in Clash of the Titans, and I need you to remind that I have a tribe. He was a tribe member. It's Larry T, who was a dear old friend of mine, who did that, and I learned to rely on my tribe. You know, a lot of times, like in The Wizard of Oz, where you need someone to say, wake up, Dorothy, wake up. And that was a failure, but it was also one of the biggest lessons I ever learned. Thank you, Manu. Thank you. You guys have been fabulous. Give Whoopi Goldberg a big round of applause. And thank you for coming to DragCon New York. Love you. Bye.
That was a lot of fun. That was a lot of fun.
Sorry.